and welcome back to Chatting with Beauty Spot. Today we will be discussing Married at First Sight, season 14, episode 5. I have my notes right here and let's go ahead and get started because this one was a mess. So they're all spending their first nights with each other after their weddings. And first of all, Olajuwon is happy as hell. He got hooked up with Katina. He thinks she is just so pretty. And he's telling her, yeah, I used to be a playboy, yada, yada, yada. We know. We know. Katina knows. You used to be a playboy. That doesn't have to be in every episode. But yeah, they were kicking it. He ended up slobbing her down. They were cool. Let's just skip. Let's go to Alyssa and Chris. Po Chris, he has absolutely no clue what's going on with Alyssa. He's like, she's using what his friend said at the honeymoon of him like being a little obnoxious and always trying to teach or whatever as her reasoning, but the truth is she don't like the way he looks. She is unattracted to him and therefore she don't want to continue. She don't like the way he looks. They have not had a full conversation to try to get to know each other so she can base her feelings off of something valid. She's going by what people are saying and she's running with him, and that is giving her enough reason to treat him bad. And she really, if we going off looks, baby, you should not be the one to tell somebody else they ain't fine enough to be with you. Actually, she has not told him that's the reason, but you could tell that's the reason. And if she's going off on that, all she have to do is look in the mirror. Homegirl don't even have a good chin. Like, come on. But she basically lets him know that she will not be spending the night with him in the honeymoon suite like all the other wives that just got married, but she does not feel comfortable, so she's gonna go sleep in a different hotel room, but she will not explain why. And he's trying to offer her, like, did I do something? He trying to apologize and whatnot. And she's like, we could just talk about this after we've had a good night's sleep and yada, yada, yada. And he was like, well, do you want to talk, like, without the cameras and stuff? No, let's just talk tomorrow, whatever. So they did talk later that evening without the cameras and whatnot. And she told Chris that they just didn't vibe. But she still wants to stay to have a good experience. Let me tell it. She trying to stay so she don't get fined. Like my good homeboy from Oakland said. Yeah, she don't want to get fined. Because if that girl could bounce without penalty, she would have been gone. Or she just want, to go on whatever honeymoon they're going on or whatever. But she just was not feeling him, and she knows that she will get in trouble if she just turn around and bounce. But she should have just turned around and bounced, and don't be putting that man through all that stuff. It's just not right. All right, so let's go to Lindsay and Mark. They tell each other about their mothers. She said she invited her mom to the wedding. Her mom chose not to come and then call somebody and talk bad about Lindsay, which sucks. And she was like, yeah, she didn't want to come and she talked bad about me. And he was saying how his mom started getting depressed after she retired, and then after his father died, it went even deeper. And so that's what's going on. And they tell each other, and they're understanding about that. When they get to the hotel room, she's Sage in the room, right? to get rid of the, the evil spirits and whatnot. She should have whipped some around herself. Because that lady she got some evilness need to come out. I don't even know if it's evil. It's just stuff just comes out of her mouth and she just don't even think. Poor baby. And he asked her about past relationships, and she said she's been with a lot of takers and she's a giver. And she's just dealt with loser after loser after loser after loser. She dealt with people who she would eventually get on their nerves and they had to bounce. So, it jumps to Stephen Noy, and he said they did not consummate the marriage. And then it jumps back to Katina and Olajuwon, and they're laying in bed talking. And he's basically telling her, and she asked him, you said that you were not treating women correctly. What was it that you weren't doing? And he said, he used to be a cheater. And he said, well, technically I wasn't a cheater because the relationships were never defined. So I basically didn't cheat. And she was like, so you just saw a lot of women? And he was basically like, yeah, and he asked her, and she said, I was a party girl. I would go out, be out till 5 in the morning and whatnot. And he was asking her, like if she went home with people like after the club, and she was like, nah, she used to have a go-to dude. And he was like, well, I can't say nothing about your past because you know about mine, and you dang sure can't. She had an F-boy, a break in case of emergency. Sometimes it bees like that. So then after that, Alyssa comes to talk to Chris again and says that they are just, oh wait, we're going to skip that part. Now it's time to meet the in-laws and family and friends that are coming to this breakfast, brunch, whatever. Jasmina goes to meet Mike's sisters, and they asked her if they consummated the marriage, and she was like, no, they did not. They did not do the sex. And they were talking, and they were cool. They're like, I love your dress. And she was like, yeah, my people hated it. And his sisters said that, to be patient with Mike. Mike goes into situation assuming the worst, but hoping for the best, and she was like, to her, to Jasmina, that was like a red flag. Cause she's like, he is going into it with the glass half empty, but she always goes into the situation with glass half full. But Jasmina turns around and says, all of her past relationships have been long distance. And this is her first time having a man in the same city that she's in. So this should be interesting because she's not used to being around and living with, that's weird. I did not know that about Jasmina. And Mike goes to meet with Jasmina's folks, and all Jasmina's folks was worried about was her safety. Because her mom is like, I don't know you. Like, you seem like a cool dude, but this is all surface level. My fear is my daughter's safety. I gotta know she gonna be all right. And he was like, you don't have to worry about anything. But like she said, I don't know you, bruh. I mean, they weren't mean to him, but that was basically what it was. Noe goes to meet with Steve's parents. And they're talking, they liked her, and they're going back and forth, and Steve's dad comes out and say, my son, he's a vagabond, which was hella funny to me, but like, damn, these people just be throwing these people up under the bus. He left his job, well, he didn't leave it, he got laid off, and he went and traveled for 4 months, basically Homeboy is doing freelance work, and he said he was like, it's better for him doing freelance than it is to get a job. So homeboy is not broke. He is just not going into a traditional 9 to 5, clocking in, clocking out. This bruh is doing work when he has to, and he getting paid a pretty penny for it. That people need to leave him alone. But I could understand if somebody comes to me and is like, yeah, I ain't really working like that. You know what I'm saying? You would have some kind of issue with that. But I get it. Steve goes meets with Noise people, and Noise brother dressed up in his drag and said he needs to meet Sriracha. And that's what he goes by. And I guess he was expecting Steve to maybe trip off of him, but Steve was like, hey, how you doing? And, you know, Steve was not tripping off of Sriracha at all. And, you know, Sriracha he was asking Steve question after question. I think he was trying to rattle him, and it didn't work. Steve kept his composure and cool and was answering his questions. And they was like, you know, like, when do you want kids? And Noise Moms jumps in and said, you know, no job, no babies. So they don't understand. They don't understand him either, not having a traditional job. So we go to Mark and Lindsay. Mark, you know what? Lindsay meets with Mark's people, and it's cool. They didn't have much to say, really. You know, they got along. But when Mark goes to meet Lindsay's folks, her people gave him a Lindsay survival kit. It was snacks for when she start acting crazy, and a no button. And her dad reiterated the fact that her tongue can be vicious. She has to be reined in. So he gonna have to tell her, shut up, shut up, hush, girl. Cause she has no filter. She doesn't have a filter. She doesn't know how to use it. Now I have a filter now. I didn't used to. But that's only no holds barred when I'm pissed off. You know, if I'm pissed off, ain't no telling what's gonna come out my mouth. But anyway, back to the people. Chris goes to meet with Alyssa's people. Chris tells them that Alyssa told him that they were not compatible and that they should just be friends. And all her people was in shock, especially her mom, because her mom thinks Chris is the perfect person for Alyssa. Like, he's there to you know, ground her. He's there. Her mom thinks that Chris is the dude for Alyssa, and they're trying to tell him to give her time. Alyssa meets with Chris people, and she ain't even really want to ask them no questions because she is not interested in him at all whatsoever under any circumstances. She don't like dude. She don't like the way he look, and apparently she cares more about his looks than his personality. So, I mean, I think the only thing she really asked him, so what do you all do with Chris to have fun? And you know, they were like, you know, it's hard to get time in because he's a real estate agent. So, you know, they spend a lot of time on the phone, you know, bringing business. And she took that and was like, I don't know if I can deal with that because this, because that. So anything that she deems negative coming from anybody, even if it's not a negative, she's going to take it as a negative and add that to her stockpile full of reasons on why she should not be with dude and yada yada yada. Um, Katina goes to meet with Olajuwon's folks, and you know, Olajuwon's mom was really cool. She brought Katina a gift, and she was like, "This is for you. Let me hurry up and eat because I gotta go to work. But this is for you. Welcome to the family." You know, I used to be his biggest cheerleader at all his football games and all his games, and I want to hand this over to you because you are now his wife, and you could do the cheerleading for him. And that was nice. That was nice. Now, Olajuwon goes to meet with Katina's folks. And her homeboy Jelani was not here for Olajuwon. He was giving it to him. He believes Olajuwon is just doing this for attention. Like, he don't care nothing about marriage, no nothing, and he believes that he's just doing this for attention. And Olajuwon was like, man, if you need to come at me, but, you know, I'm here to be married or whatever. So, you know, everybody meets up and asks how everything went. They go back to their room. They get a gift. And they open it. And it's the, you know, welcome to being married. You guys are going to Puerto Rico for your honeymoon. So, you know, everybody's excited. Talking about their trip. Okay, I'm back. So they're all getting prepared to go to Puerto Rico or whatnot. So everybody's, you know, basically getting ready, getting packed, yada, yada, yada. Now, apparently on the plane, it was a little ruckus because Olu and Katina got into it with Lindsay. Now, according to Lindsay, she was like joking with Olajuwon and them, asking Olajuwon, you know, do you speak Spanish? And Olajuwon said a little, but not enough. I don't speak it fluently. And she was basically like, well, we're going to their native land and it would be great if you could speak Spanish. And he's like, you need to go ahead and just worry about what you and Mark is gonna do. Let me worry about me and mine. And he was like, she said she thought he was joking, but basically, and this is part of the after show, he said she had been poking at them and poking at them. You know, she has a mouth and she has no filter. And so she was poking at him, and he had finally had enough. He was like, when she came at me, I'm like, you just worry about you and Mark. Let me worry about how me and Katina gonna handle ourselves when we get to Puerto Rico. Go on somewhere and sit down. So when they landed in Puerto Rico, all the couples got on a bus except Lindsay and Mark. They got on a different bus. And Paul Mark, he was like, damn, you know, he trying to help her understand that you known these people as long as I've known these people. You can't just keep coming at people like that because you always on 10. You don't know how people are going to react to the things you say. So he trying to calm her down. He's being real nice to her. And she was like, well, thank you. And he's like, you know, I have your back. I'll always have your back. But he's like, basically, calm down. And it's like, is she going to, I know he's probably thinking, is she going to be doing this? What if they at a bar or something, if they stay together? What if they're at a bar or something and she says something to somebody and Mark is trying to diffuse the situation and he get his ass beat because his wife done said something? He does not like conflict like that, and she's the type of person that'll pop off at the mouth, especially if she has something to drink. So she is not cool like that. So, you know, they finally get to where they're going, and they're headed to the little beach area. Alyssa ain't even walking with Chris, not even talking with Chris. She back there walking with Katina and Elijah Wine. Hell, Chris is walking with Mark and Jasmina. They are not even talking at all. Hell, he said at the airport, she went right past him as security. She is not paying this man no mind. She happy to get to Puerto Rico. So they're all sitting out there having drinks. Lindsay stays in the hotel room, but Mark comes down. And before Mark comes down, Elijah Wan was like apologizing to the group for snapping off at her and was like, I did not come here for that. I came here to enjoy my honeymoon. So I hope that this is all squashed and we could all be cool. And then here comes Mark, and Mark is not Mark, but Chris. No, it's Mark the Shark. Yeah. So Mark comes down and he's apologizing for Lindsay. And Elijah Mom was saying, I was just telling everybody, I don't want it to be any bad blood. We came down for our honeymoons. We came to have a good time and yada, yada, yada. And, Elijah Mom was asked, would you like an apology from Lindsay? And he was like, no. It's basically squashed. Like, it wasn't even that serious. Basically, Lindsay just needs to shut her mouth. She don't know people like that, and she don't know how people are going to react to the things that she says. But Elijah Wan was nice. Katina was like, well, I guess, if we're going to be cool with it, we're going to be cool with it. Katina was not as forgiving as Elijah Wan was, but she gonna be cool. She was basically saying, look, I could be cordial with her. I'm a very forgiving and patient person, but she gonna get on my nerves, pretty much. So Mark goes up and he tells her that the whole situation is squashed and they're here to have a good time and yada, yada, yada. And he tells her that Elijah Wan wants to hug it out. I don't think I heard Elijah Wan say anything about hugging it out, but he put a little extra on it. Oh my God. And Lindsay was just in love after that. Like, he has my back. I think I love him already. So anyway, we go back to Alyssa and Chris. They're back in the hotel. And they're on the balcony, and she's saying how nice and beautiful it is out there. And he's saying it is beautiful, it is nice. But do you want to stay? Are you trying to stay here in Puerto Rico with me? And she's like, well, I don't feel comfortable staying in the wrong room with you, with somebody I just met. Heifer, you are on a show called Married at First Sight. Tell that man the truth. Tell him how you really feel. Tell him that I just don't dig the way you look, and nothing that you could say could bring me back from that. And he called her out though. I'm so glad that Chris was not being a punk about it. He called her out and said, when you came down that aisle, you wanted the perfect person, and it didn't go that way. And she was like, and he tells her, you don't even try. We done spent 40 minutes together total, and you telling me that you trying? And she said, yes. What, you don't believe me? Do you think I'm lying? And he said, yeah. And she was like, I'm walking away from the cameras because I can't believe that you just called me a liar. He just called me a liar. And she goes in the living room of the hotel and puts a big old hat in front of her face like, I don't want to be filmed right now. She was being hella extra. She was putting hella extra on it. Homegirl was doing way too much. And then he comes in and she says, I'm a nice person. Just be nice to me. And she was telling him that, I don't understand how you can be so disrespectful. Like, you went to my family and told them things that I wanted you to keep in confidence. And he said, they asked me, what was I supposed to say when you asked me how I am and how was the wedding night? And I tell them that you told me that you was not feeling me like that and you just wanted to be friends. And he's like, you know, he's like, you know what? I'ma leave because I want to be in a different room now. And when he leaves, he's like, she's trying to gaslight me. But I like the fact that Chris ate a whole entire scrub. You know, like he gets it. He gets that this girl is trying to play him. And she's trying to blame every single thing. She didn't want them to know that she just wants to be friends or whatever. She didn't want her people to know. Girl, we see all of this. And she can't even go and say it was the editing. They can't edit out what you give them. You straight not being around this dude. You came down the aisle, you ain't like him. Period. You should have just told him that. Then it goes back to like Katina and Olajuwon, and they're talking, and he's like, I think you're being, you know, you have a wall up. And she's like, I don't have a wall, I'm just being cautious. And she says she's being cautious because she don't want to be hurt. And he's like, but I am your husband. And I don't know if you're basing that off of the fact of how I used to be, how I told you I used to be, but I'm not. I am your husband. He kept saying, I am your husband. She gets it. Y'all are married. You don't want to be a hoe no more. But that don't mean she need to dive right in. Dude, she don't know you. Let her be cautious and go into this. She not running away. She not doing you how Lindsay is doing, not Lindsay, but how Alyssa is doing Chris. She here for the experience. Let her be cautious. It's day 2. But anyway, y'all, that is the end of this episode. I'm going to go ahead and go. I will chat with y'all later. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.